Hi, my name is Alessandro Angelosi and that's a video tutorial coming from cgcookie.com for Max Cookie. This time I start to work on a new series, and the series will be for all users, and we'll try to do something that will be really interesting because we'll work on something related to space and the nature. So we'll work on an alien planet scene with maybe some vehicles or something like that. So we'll start to prepare the environment, and we'll try to do something related to a planet, similar maybe to Mars or maybe the Earth, something like that. So let's start checking the unit setup. We are working in meters, and we can just use a plane for the moment, and we'll use a plane to create the main environment. And let's say that this one is 350 meters by 350 meters, so it's really big. Okay, and obviously we go for shaded and edges faces. So we'll need more detail actually, and we need to have a basic shape for our environment. And let's imagine that we'll have there our scene and there some kind of meshes, and then we can have, for example, there something like the mesh that falls down. So let's go there, and we can use also the Freeform. We can convert this one to editable poly, and you see that we have all the tools we need. Okay, so we are talking about a 350 meters scene, and I like to we have to move this one. Okay, you see I have this one there. Okay, you see that we can start playing, and it's not important how we create the shape. I like just to create some changes there to prepare the scene. Okay, and then we can have an eye mesh there to something like that. Okay, and there you see we are just creating the basic shape. Okay, then we need for sure more detail. So what we have to do is to use, for example, the tessellate. So let's go for a tessellate modifier, and we can work on the quad, no tension for the moment, and more iteration. So that's the actual shape. Okay, let's go back again there, convert to editable poly, and we can again work on this scene. Let's remove the edges faces now. And you see I'm just playing a little bit with this panel there. Let's use a bigger area there, and you see that we are creating a different kind of shape. Okay, so you see it's less regular, so that means that we are creating something more like a terrain just using the sculpting feature there in 3ds Max. And I like to create some okay, and then there, so you see it will be more see it seems more fractal than before, just because I'm doing something that seems not so regular. And so we can continue to create the basic topology for this mesh, and I like to continue playing a little bit with the freeform. So let's go for a bigger. So you see that there I try to create a more stable area, and then we can use again this one. I will try with a lower, and let's say that the strength is higher. So I'm just trying to create something that where we can pass there let's say 10 and there 50. Okay, so let's go back to the push. Let's use more strength. Let's try with 50, because we are using a bigger scale, so we need, you see, okay, something like that can start working. Obviously now we will work on the shape to have a better quality. Okay, let's use a little bit of strength, maybe 5. So you see, I'm trying just to have a better shape. So we have less, you see, less area with a really high smooth, and we have more detailed area there. Okay, so then let's go again to have something like that. And I like to add some detail also there. Let's try using the noise with an higher strength. Okay, obviously we need more detail. Let's try to have see that it is starting to seem to be more similar to something like a terrain. We have still a lot of work to do, but it is starting to seem something more interesting. Let's check from the other point of view, and again with the noise. Okay, let's move there, and again with the pinch. So you see we have a more dramatic way there, and also there. It's a little bit too much for the strength. Let's go maybe to 10. Let's go to 5. And then again a little bit of noise. Okay. Then back to the pull and push. I like to check also the phase. Okay, we can start to go for to have a more phase there. So we can go for tessellate. Or maybe we can try to have a Turbosmooth. Let's see with the edges faces. We have more detail now. Let's try with an higher number. Okay. Convert to editable poly. Okay, and now we have a really good amount of detail. So it is starting to be a little bit slower. Let's see if we can have a little bit less polygons. So let's go to the add modifier and let's use just one layer of Turbosmooth. Okay, convert to editable poly. Perfect. And let's remove the edges faces there, and now it should be faster. Okay. It's too much. Let's go for 3. Okay, you see that we are going to have smoother faces. Okay, and now I like to have this area bigger, so 20 and 100. So you see, I'm just going to have an higher level there. I'm moving the orbit just to see how it looks from different point of view. Because we have too much smooth around, and I prefer to have more dramatic edges in some area. So it will give more the idea to have a terrain. Okay, let's pick again the noise. Let's go for 1000. Let's go for 100. Let's use 8 for offset. I use 50. Okay. Use 50. So you see that we are going to have Let's try to have more smooth over there. Okay, then let's play more there on this area of the mountain. Because I like to have a really good detail there. Okay. So something like that should be enough to start. Maybe, sorry. Just some tuning there. Let's go for 20. And now maybe 8. Let's go 4. Okay. So we have the basic area there. Maybe just to have this area a little bit lower. Okay, perfect, and save. So that's the basic area there, and there we'll add more detail for sure. Now I'd like to try to add some detail, for example there, coming from the ground, and we can use this one, let's say 50. Okay. Let's start working on this area, and we can use the pinch. It's too much. Let's say 4. Use the shift. Let's go there, and let's use this point of view to create a camera, and then back to the perspective. Let's select this mesh. Okay, we have to tune there, and you see also there, because we made the changes from the other point of view. So let's go there. Let's relax this area. And also there. Okay, a little bit there, and also a little bit there. Okay, perfect. So then let's use the shift, and the shift also there, and the shift. Okay. Again, the push. $15. Okay, and then the shift, let's say maybe 10 and 15. Now again with a lower value, 4. Let's go in the camera, and that's what we see actually. Okay, now let's start to play with other tool, and we can start to have a displays, and we can start using some maps. We have Krakatoa as a rendering engine. We have obviously to change it, and let's go for material array. Let's go in the material editor, and we'll use some maps to start playing with the terrain. And let's start to have, the maps. We can start with, let's go for a cellular, and there we copy this one as a map, as an instance. Let's say 2 meters. Okay, you see that now we are starting to have something. I don't like obviously this map, but we need for sure to have more detail. So we go for a Turbosmooth now. Under there. Okay, and then we have this map. Let's go back there. We are using an higher scale. The first one I like to have a really high scale. Just to have a general terrain look. We should need also some masking, and we can use it in a really simple way. So let's see also with a higher level of detail. You see we have a lot of detail in this way. Okay, first of all I like to start having some mask, and I like to have less bumping there and more bumping there. So let's set to off this one, let's set to off this one too. Let's save, and this one we can use the canvas. Let's assign a standard material. Let's go for a perspective, and we can go in the top, shaded. Remove the grid using the G key. You see that's our mesh. It's not bad as basic terrain actually. So let's go for tools, viewport canvas, and we have it now. Okay, so I like to paint a mask there to understand where we like to use some maps. The first one is to have generally more rocky effects there. So we have to decide for a diffuse, and we'll do it maybe not so big because we are talking just about mask. The basic color will be white, and this one can be named, let's go in the right folder, let's create textures. Okay, and this one can be called displays mask rod.jpg. 100% for the quality, and that's okay. Perfect. That's the map, and then we can go to paint this one. You see that I have some kind of problems there about the painting, and that's really not good. I try to solve it, just a moment. Okay, now it seems working. And let's say that that's the road. And again, I have problem. Let's say that's okay. Let's see if the mask is right. It can be good enough. So let's say that it's okay for us. Let's go in camera, and let's go in the material editor, and we say that this map is not visible. And now we use this one, so copy, and we use this now as a mask. So the displacement will be a composite map, and this one will be masked by this one. So copy and paste. Then displace, and you see that now we have the displacement more in the other area and less in the area where we have the, let's use also the Turbosmooth. You see we have less bump there. Let's say that the displace is just really low, so 0.2 meters. So you see we have just a really teeny level of move. Then I like to have another map, and I like to have a map there just for the mountain. So let's set 2 off and 2 off, and let's say that now we will work on a let's say on a specular color, and again it will be this time black, 1000. Okay, sorry, and it will be displays mask mountain dot jpg. Okay, so you see we can paint there. We need the white, and it can be bigger. Okay, let's see if we can tune a little bit. just easy to make it less regular. So you see, I'm trying just to have a not so precise map, and then using the black color with a lower opacity. Let's try to have, you see, area with a little bit of different value. Okay, perfect. Let's go there again, and this map will be not visible, and we can copy, and then there we can add another layer, and this layer is masked by this one. Copy, paste, and we'll go again for this one, but let's remove this one. Okay, I like to see it just there. Let's use an higher level there. That's 5. Let's try with 10. Okay. Then let's work on the map, and the map will be, let's see it, but I like to see it with no output generally. Okay. Black there. Let's make some variation. So you see we have strange detail, and let's say that we have more tiling over one axis. Not this one, but this. I need a bigger scale. Okay. Now we can try to have an higher output amount. Let's try with less. Okay, and I like to add another map too. Okay, I like to make a test also with another maps, and let's see, to use gradient. Sorry. Okay, and this one is the map now. Let's remove all the other maps. Let's try to have an higher amount, 2 meters. Okay. Let's rotate by -90, so we have just there, and let's change the tiling. Okay, let's go for something like that. Let's have no rotation. Okay, and let's have 0.3 for noise as fractal, but it will be bigger with more noise. And let's try to have white there, black there. Okay, let's try to have more. And let's try to have it just there. So you see we have the map just there. And let's start again from there to have the first map. So we have just there. And let's say that this one is visible at 10%. Okay. Then the second one. Okay, we have the rocks there. And we say that this one has maybe 10, 20, sorry, 20. And let's try to have this one bigger. Okay, and then up there we set also this one, and we set it as, let's try with subtraction. And I like to have this one more visible, so let's go to have it as an average as 50%, 75%, and let's go for to center luminance. Okay, and there let's try with 5 meters. Okay, and again go there for 5, and this one will be 10. And maybe this one can be a little bit different. Let's try with 10. Let's go for a normal 85%, because I like to see it there. I think we need a different mapping, so let's go to have a UV WMap map channel 2 on the Z axis, on the X axis fit, Y axis fit. Okay, and this one will be 2. And let's put it there. But you're right, because we have the problem that I have to use this one and not the previous one. So let's set to off. Let's move it there. And let's set to off this one. Okay, so we have just there. Then let's add a new displays, and we say to use existing mapping number 2, and we need to make another composite there, or we can pick this one and copy there as a copy, and we set to off these maps on just this one, and we copy it there as an instance. Okay, let's say 5 meters, Okay, so you see that we are starting to see something. Then we can go there, and let's say that we have dirty tiling, and you see that now we have the tiling there. Okay, and we have the stuffs there, and we can say that we have more little noise with turbulence. It's better with fractal. Okay, and I like to add another map too, and we can use a cellular, and let's remove this one. Okay, remove this and this, and there we put the same map as a copy. Then we go to have cheap, really big, still bigger. Okay, let's check the map with fractal, and let's go there to have a black color. Let's try to have just 10. $25, and make it a little bit more little. I like it to have more precise, or maybe we can go to have no fractal, so we are talking just about lines. Invert, and then back with the other map. And let's go to have less bumping. And maybe we can have a little bit more bumping done by this map. Okay, so that's just a starting point about our map. I'm changing a little bit there. Okay, we can have a little bit more mapping there. We need a little bit of mesh there, maybe we can make some distortion, but it's really not bad. Okay, so I can save, and we can continue on the next part to prepare the mesh, and then we'll be able to start playing a little bit with the environment rendering, and then we'll add some alien stuffs to create a really nice effects scene. So for the moment that's all, and I hope to see you back on MaxCookie to check for new tutorial coming from cgcookie.com. Bye.